Beginning to break, episode 18. We sharpen and narrow. Some messages don't arrive in words. They arrive in reflections, in dreams, in things that should not move, moving anyway. Sabine Devereaux is no longer silent, and what she is trying to say is breaking through wherever it can. After the fountain, Lucien Devereaux and Evelyn stepped back into the crew from the courtyard, the after image of Sabine's hand still lingering behind Lucien's eyes. The sky outside had darkened to indigo. The lamplight inside felt thin and nervous. Evelyn touched his arm gently.
We need to go back through everything. What she showed me. What she showed you. There's a pattern.
Lucien swallowed hard, grief making his voice unsteady.
I don't know what it means. I don't know why she'd imply she didn't fall.
We'll figure it out,
Evelyn said. But even she didn't fully believe that. Not yet. Before they could say anything further, Celeste appeared in the kitchen doorway. Her face was pale. Her hands shook, and she clutched her camera like it was a lifeline. Celeste's photo. They gathered around the long table. Celeste laid out her laptop, her camera, a few printed photos she'd developed earlier. Her breath hadn't steadied.
I had a dream. Or a vision. I don't know. Sabine came to me through a reflection. It felt too real to be a dream.
Lucien stopped breathing. Evelyn reached out.
Tell us everything you remember.
Celeste described the reflection that disobeyed her movements. Sabine's drifting underwater hair. Her apology for possessing Celeste. Her cryptic references to the fox. And then the message.
Tell Lucien I didn't drown. He traded me.
Lucien staggered backward as though stabbed. A sound escaped him, small, wounded, involuntary. Evelyn caught his arm.
Lucien, breathe.
But he couldn't, not properly. Celeste hesitated, then held the camera toward him.
And when I woke up, this was on it. I swear I didn't take it.
Lucien took the camera with shaking fingers. There, in cold stillness, a drowned girl reached upward from dark water. Sabine, frozen in the precise moment life slipped from her. Lucien let out a broken whisper.
Sabine.
Evelyn closed her eyes briefly, grief flickering across her face before she forced herself back to the task. Celeste hugged herself.
She also said the one who pushed her head into the fountain wasn't the one whose hands you'll remember.
Lucien looked as though the floor had fallen away beneath him.
I don't understand,
he whispered.
What does that mean? Who was there? Who could...
Evelyn held up a hand, gentle but firm.
We don't know. Not yet. Sabine's message was fragmented. Trauma echoes strangely.
But someone made a deal.
Lucien insisted.
Someone in my family, in the household, made a deal that required her.
Evelyn's voice softened.
They may even still be alive. Or not, depending on the terms of the deal. We don't know.
They exchanged a look, heavy with dread and uncertainty. Renard's dream. Renard didn't remember falling asleep. He'd meant only to rest his eyes. Stretched out on the stiff motel bed somewhere off a nameless highway, boots still on, highway lights bleeding through the thin curtains. The room smelled faintly of old cigarettes and lemon cleaner, but after 2 days on the road, heading back toward his carnival people, he'd take what he could get. One blink, and then he was standing in a marsh at dusk. The kind of twilight that looks bruised. The water was mirror still, reflecting a crescent moon split neatly in two. A figure rose from the water. Doe, except not doe. Her white dress billowed around her like a drowned lily. Antlers crowned her brow, each tine carrying the faintest flicker of candle flame. Her eyes glowed with a light that had never belonged to her.
"Little fox,"
she said. The voice was wrong, too old, too many voices folded into one. Renard tried to step toward her, but the mud clutched his boots, swallowing him ankle deep. The air around them shuddered. Lines appeared, thin, glowing slashes carving themselves into the sky, crossroads suspended like constellations. The smell of myrrh drifted through the marsh, and smoke, and something older. Renard swallowed.
"What do you want?"
The figure tilted her head, antlers catching the broken moonlight.
"You were bought
She murmured.
for a promise that trembles."
Renard frowned,
"What promise?"
but she only raised her hand and scattered a pinch of black salt across the water. Where it landed, the marsh glowed soft, eerie blue.
"Remember this dust,"
She whispered. The candle flames on her antlers winked out. One by one, the crossroads collapsed, folding into themselves like dying stars. Darkness dropped. Renard woke with a gasp. The cheap motel room lay silent around him, like the hum of the air conditioner. The neon motel sign buzzing weakly outside. A burnt metallic smell threading through the sterile air like a warning. His right hand was clenched. He opened it slowly. A small cold heap of gray ash exactly like the dust she had scattered. Renard sat up, heart knocking hard against his ribs. Nothing in the room moved. Nothing explained itself. But the ash in his palm felt like a warning, or a reminder, or a door beginning to open. The truth takes shape, but not the whole truth. Evelyn spread her notes from St. Odelia across the table, the carved sigil Sabine had left, Sister Corinne's ghostly testimony, the prayer for sanctuary.
All these pieces,
Evelyn murmured.
all these pieces point to a binding ritual. Demonic, ancient. Someone traded Sabine's potential, her life force, as payment.
Lucien ran both hands through his hair.
I was a child. I didn't see anyone. I didn't hear anything. There's no one alive to ask.
Sabine believes that you can still break it.
Celeste whispered. Evelyn nodded.
That's why she's reaching across mirrors, across dreams. She wants this undone.
Lucien clenched his fists.
But how? We don't even know who cast the spell.
Spells leave echoes,
Evelyn said.
even centuries later.
Before Lucien could respond, the lights flickered, then dimmed, then went a strange, sickly red. The demon's presence. A low hum vibrated through the floorboards, felt more than heard. The candles sputtered, their flames slanting sideways as if blown by invisible breath. Shadow pooled beneath the table, thickening like spilled ink. A whisper slid across the baseboards.
Heir of the Devereux.
Lucien stiffened so violently, Evelyn flinched. Celeste's breath hitched. The shadow swelled, folding into the semblance of a ledger, its damp pages fluttering, covered in ink that moved like living script. Not fully formed, but present enough to fill the room with dread. Lucien stepped forward, voice shaking.
Who are you claiming? Who do you want?
The whisper coiled around him like a serpent made of smoke.
I claim what was promised.
Lucien froze.
What was promised?
He rasped.
Who promised you anything?
The whisper exhaled a cold, joyless laugh.
The hands you remember are innocent.
A pause.
The hands you forget are mine.
Lucien shook, struggling to breathe. Evelyn stepped beside him. You have no claim here, she said, voice steady, despite the chill. Not until we know the truth. The whisper stretched thin, as though amused.
Unspell him.
Then the shadow collapsed, snapping out like a candle blown from inside. Silence crashed down. Preparing the ritual. Lucien sagged, gripping the edge of the table. Evelyn steadied him.
Lucien, look at me.
He did, eyes glassy.
We're not helpless,
she said.
We can break this, but we need to begin now.
Celeste Renault nodded, voice trembling.
Lucien, you're better at this than anyone.
How do we start? Lucien swallowed hard.
A demonic contract can be dismantled if you gather 3 things.
He lifted one trembling finger.
Truth. Whatever we can piece together about the original terms. Sabine's messages are part of that.
A second finger.
Witnesses. Someone who bears the wound of the bargain.
Evelyn whispered.
Sabine.
A third finger.
And Locus. The place where the deal was sealed.
The fountain.
Lucien nodded. Evelyn rose to her feet, already pulling ingredients from shelves. Salt, moon water, candles, a mirror darkened with soot.
We start in an hour,
she said.
At the courtyard. At the time Sabine always appears.
Lucien wiped his face with the heel of his hand. Celeste swallowed hard, but steadied herself.
Celeste, you don't need to stay for this kind
of ritual. Celeste only nodded firmly, squaring her shoulders, even while her face had gone pale. Lucien answered quietly.
An unspelling.
And the house seemed to exhale, as if bracing for what came next. The message Hartwell's sister sent. The cybersecurity building was too bright, too clean, too empty. Mercy sat rigid in the chair Cassian had pulled up beside his workstation, her hands twisted together so tightly her knuckles had gone bloodless. She hadn't spoken since the phone call, the one where the woman whispered, Find that child, and hung up like she was afraid the line itself might bite her. Cassian's fingers flew across the keyboard, bypassing firewalls with practiced ease. Even the machines seemed wary of Mercy, as if aware a storm sat quietly in her bones. He showed her the display, showing that a message had come in. Mercy inhaled sharply.
Play it.
Cassian hesitated.
Mercy, people don't leave messages like this unless they expect something to go wrong.
Play it.
The speakers crackled. Then the voice of Meredith Hartwell filled the room, low, breathless, the sound of a woman speaking from a closet with the lights off. If this reaches you, it means I couldn't say it out loud. Mercy tensed. Cassian leaned forward. The Bellamy child, Lenore. She wasn't registered properly. No birth certificate, no intake form. Then they told us she was placed. That's all. A shaky exhale. I didn't question it at first. Children slip through the cracks all the time. But when I tried to follow up, the record was gone. Not locked, not sealed. A pause. Mercy's nails dug into her palms. Erased. Cassian's eyebrows knit. The woman continued, voice cracking under strain. I denied the Sisters of the Purple Veil. I asked who authorized the transfer. I shouldn't have asked. They moved me off the case within the hour. They told me to forget the name Lenore Jones entirely. Fabric rustled. A door creaked faintly somewhere behind her, and she froze mid-breath. When she spoke again, her voice had shrunk to a panicked whisper. Whoever took her, it wasn't the state. It wasn't an agency I recognize. And someone signed her out without leaving a trail. A tremor raked her words. It wasn't paperwork. It felt like permission. Mercy's throat closed. Cassian glanced at her, studying her face carefully. The recording went on. I'm scared. So scared for her. And for me. A choked sound, maybe tears, maybe fear. A sharp bang in the background. A door slammed open. Hartwell's sister gasped. I have to go. They're listening. A scrape. The sound of the phone being fumbled. The recording ended. Silence filled the room like water rising in a well. Mercy didn't breathe. She didn't blink. She only stared at the dark screen, her entire body trembling with a fury so cold Cassian felt it from across the desk.
Mercy,
he said softly. She stood, not quickly, not violently, slowly, as though lifting the weight of 10 years of grief from the floor.
They took my girl,
she whispered, not a scream, not even a sob, just truth, spoken like a blade drawn from its sheath. Cassian rose beside her.
We're going to find her,
he said.
Whoever erased that trail, I'll dig deeper. Whatever's hidden, I'll see it.
Mercy turned her head, eyes burning with tears she refused to let fall.
Then let's begin.
And somewhere in the quiet, humming servers around them, it felt like something paused, listening. The unspelling. Alice's revelation. By the time Alice Renault arrived, the house already felt like it was leaning toward the courtyard. Books lay open on the dining table. Evelyn's hastily drawn sigils ringed a mirror blackened with soot. Salt traced faint lines across the wood. Lucien sat hunched over Celeste's ghost photo of Sabine, his thumb hovering just shy of the drowned girl's reaching hand. The front door slammed open hard enough to startle the candles.
Mercy?
Evelyn called. Alice Renault practically sprinted into the room, arms full of loose papers and a heavy, leather-bound volume that had seen better centuries. Her glasses were slightly crooked.
You cannot
Alice panted.
do the ritual you are planning to do, not the way you're about to do it.
Lucien blinked, dazed.
We haven't told you what we were planning.
You don't have to.
Alice said, dropping the book on the table with a solid, ancient thump.
You sent me the symbol Sabine carved into the pew, remember? I've been cross-referencing it.
She shuffled through her papers, hands shaking just enough to betray how rattled she was, even if her voice stayed brisk.
At first I thought it was a ward.
Alice said.
Every text I checked lumped it in with other banishment glyphs, but then I found this.
She flipped open the leather book to a carefully marked page. The symbol Sabine had carved stared up at them, the same shape Evelyn had traced in her notebook, surrounded by tight, handwritten notes in French and Latin. Someone had painstakingly written alternate meanings in the margins. Evelyn leaned in.
Alice, what is it?
Alice swallowed.
It isn't a ward, it's an unspell.
Celeste frowned.
Isn't that what we're trying to do? Unspell that contract?
Yes,
Alice said.
but this symbol doesn't create a shield, it pulls.
She tapped the margin with a finger.
It's a ritual designed for unraveling an existing curse held inside a vessel, not for keeping something out.
Lucien's voice rasped.
Held inside what?
Alice looked at him, eyes suddenly soft and horrified.
Someone put something in Sabine,
She said quietly.
and she was trying to take it out.
The room went very still. Outside, the wind shifted, tossing a handful of dead leaves across the courtyard door like someone knocking with brittle fingers. Lucien swallowed.
You mean she wasn't trying to keep something away from her?
She was trying to unmake what they had already placed in her.
Alice said.
Something embedded, something living, magically speaking. The symbol is a scalpel, not a shield.
Evelyn's hand closed around the back of a chair.
All this time,
Lucien whispered.
I thought she was praying for protection.
She was.
Alice said softly.
Just not the kind you imagined.
Lucien stared at the sketch of the symbol, the lines suddenly sharper, crueler.
What did they do to you?
He whispered to no one and to Sabine. Both. Lucien begins to break. As the light slid deeper into the shadow of night, Alice slid one more object across the table toward Lucien.
I found this too,
She said, voice hesitant.
tucked into the binding of the church records. It shouldn't have been there. I don't think they wanted it found.
It was a small, battered notebook, the kind a girl would hide under a pillow and write in by candlelight. Sabine's journal. Lucien stared at it for a long time before he let his hand land on the cover. The leather was worn smooth by another lifetime of fingers.
Are you sure?
Evelyn began.
Yes,
He said, his voice barely held together.
if she left words behind, I owe it to her to read them.
He opened the little book. The handwriting inside was familiar and strange all at once. Careful loops, occasional ink splatters where a tear or a shaking hand had turned a letter into a blot. He flipped to the last written page.
There is scratching behind the mirror now. I think it's inside the glass. When I look at myself, the reflection is a half beat late, as if something is climbing into place behind my eyes. I don't want Lucien to see me like this. He would try to be brave, and I would see the fear. The fountain calls at night. Sometimes I hear water in my dreams and wake with my hair damp. Something is waiting there. I don't think it's God.
Lucien clamped his hand over his mouth. Evelyn didn't speak. She slid into the chair beside him, close enough that their shoulders touched, and simply stayed there, a steady weight in a world that suddenly felt weightless. He turned the page with a hand that trembled.
Today I tried to scratch the unspell into the pew. The sisters think it's just childish vandalism. I think if I can carve the lines deep enough, maybe it will cut whatever thread is wrapped around my heart. If the demon takes me, I want it to choke. I want it to be too full. I want something of me to stay here in the wood, in the stone, in Lucien's memory. If he ever learns the truth, I want Lucien to know I tried to get free. I wasn't just waiting to drown.
Lucien's shoulders shook. A sound escaped him, not loud, not dramatic, just a small, cracked exhale that carried centuries of swallowed grief. Evelyn reached out and very gently set her hand over his on the page, not prying it away, not closing the book, just anchoring him there. He didn't speak. For once, neither did she. They sat in silence with Sabine's words between them, the ink still somehow feeling warm. The unspelling attempt. Dusk painted the courtyard in indigo and gold by the time they stepped outside. The fountain waited, as always, at the center, its water unnaturally smooth, reflecting the first sharp pinpricks of evening stars. The air smelled faintly of wet stone and old jasmine. Evelyn carried a small satchel of tools, chalk, salt, a vial of moon water, the sketch Alice had translated. Lucien carried Sabine's journal, held close to his chest. Celeste trailed behind them, camera slung at her side, more like a talisman than a device.
You're sure this is wise?
Alice asked from the doorway, arms folded tight. She'd come as far as the threshold, and no further.
Unspells don't always go the way you think they will. They unravel everything attached to the thread.
We can't leave her like this,
Evelyn said quietly. Lucien nodded once, jaw set.
We owe her more than memory.
He knelt by the fountain's edge. Evelyn began to trace the symbols Sabine had carved, not on wood this time, but around the circular, stone base of the fountain. Chalk lines first, precise and unbroken. Then a ring of salt following the same shape. The sigil looked wrong here, too sharp, like teeth around a mouth. She poured a few drops of moon water into her cupped palm, then flicked them across the surface of the fountain. The water shivered. Celeste hugged herself, trying not to imagine Sabine's drowned hand just beneath the surface. Evelyn straightened.
Lucien!
He swallowed and stepped forward. Sabine's journal tucked under one arm, like a small, fragile heart. He placed his fingertips lightly on the stone rim.
Sabine Devereaux,
he said, voice shaking but clear.
By blood and by bond, I call to you, not to bind you, to unbind what was done to you.
The water rippled outward from where his voice fell on it. Evelyn's eyes darkened, the glow of old power flickering in their depths.
By witness,
she murmured.
By wound, by word, we unspool the knot. We do not ask who tied it. We only free the one who wore it.
The air tightened. Lucien leaned over the fountain.
Sabine,
he whispered.
If you can hear me, tell me what you need us to see.
The reflection changed. His own face blurred and vanished. The water churned once, then stilled, showing not sky, not stars, but a night from centuries ago. Sabine ran into view in the reflection, her skirts gathered in shaking fists. Tears streaked her face. Her hair was loose, wild around her shoulders. Lucien's breath caught. She looked so young, younger than he remembered her, or maybe he had simply never let himself remember properly. She reached the fountain, this fountain, unchanged by time in the reflection. Her hands slammed onto the stone rim.
I'm sorry,
she sobbed.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Lucien's fingers dug into the cold stone in front of him.
Forgive me, Lucien,
her reflection whispered. He flinched. Evelyn's hand hovered at his back, not touching. Ready. Sabine's reflected gaze jerked over her shoulder, terrified. Something moved in the water's vision. Not a figure, not a man, just a vast, dark distortion. A place where light refused to exist. No eyes, no face, just absence given shape. A reflectionless mass reached for her loose hair. Sabine screamed. The thing pulled. She seized the edge of the fountain, fingers whitening, nails scraping the stone. Water surged up and over the rim and the reflected world, though the real fountain remained calm.
Sabine,
Lucien choked. Her fingers slipped. The last thing they saw in the water was her hand reaching up, reaching out. Then she was gone. The surface snapped back to smooth black. Lucien staggered backward, the journal slipping from his arm and thudding onto the courtyard stones. Celeste clapped a hand over her mouth, tears spilling freely now. Evelyn whispered,
"Oh, Sabine!"
The sigil around the base of the fountain began to glow. The water bites back. The glow spread along the chalk and salt lines, turning them a harsh, unnatural blue. Celeste said weakly.
Is it supposed to do that?
No,
Alice called from the doorway.
absolutely not.
The fountain water convulsed. Not rippled, convulsed, leaping upward in jagged bursts like shards of liquid glass. Droplets hung in the air for an impossible second, catching the dim light like broken mirror fragments before crashing back down. Lucien stumbled closer on instinct, as if to reach into the water and drag Sabine back out.
"Lucien, wait!"
Evelyn started. Too late. The surface of the fountain rolled like boiling mercury. Lucien's reflection snapped back into place, and then it moved on its own. The reflected version of him grabbed the stone rim from the inside, eyes hollow, mouth twisted in a rictus of terror. It began to haul itself upward, shoulders rising above the waterline, as if something from beneath the surface was trying to wear his shape, to climb into the world. Lucien froze, horror locking his muscles. Evelyn lunged, grabbing his arm and yanking him bodily away from the fountain's edge.
"Do not touch it!"
The reflected Lucien reached higher, hands braced on the invisible barrier of the water's skin. For one sickening heartbeat, it looked as though it would pull free. Then the sigil's glow flared white-hot and shattered. The water crashed back into place. The false reflection dissolved. The courtyard fell silent. Only the faint plink of water dropping from the fountain's lip remained, like someone quietly applauding the failure of their attempt. Lucien staggered against Evelyn, shaking. Celeste pressed herself back against the nearest wall, eyes wide. Evelyn stepped out into the courtyard at last, staring at the fountain warily. We unspelled something. Evelyn tightened her hold on Lucien.
Yes,
She said,
but whatever was inside Sabine wasn't the only thing attached to that thread.
Lucien stared at the fountain, breathing hard.
We're not just dealing with a contract.
He whispered.
We're dealing with something that wants a way through.
The fountain's water stilled, perfectly smooth, watching, waiting, and the crew of the Morning Star understood with miserable clarity that the unspilling had worked, just not in the way they'd hoped. A deal was made, a life was taken, and something was placed where it never should have been. Now the past is not asking to remember, it's demanding to be undone. And in New Orleans, nothing unravels quietly.